Down this dirt road is Afghanistan's deadliest enemy. An enemy that kills hundreds of Afghans and hundreds of soldiers every year. It does not discriminate.
The IED campaign, the IED war, is the main threat in Afghanistan.
Improvised explosive devices, IEDs, silent killers lying in wait. But there is hope.
Basically, we hunt what other men fear. We go out and find the IEDs.
And this is their story. The day begins with the morning brief for this RCP, or Route Clearing Patrol. Today, they've been tasked with clearing more than 70 kilometers of road between Sharana and Gardes in eastern Afghanistan.
It's really an honor to do what we do because it saves lives. Every IED that we find, that means that people behind us are not finding them.
But as they suit up and roll out, what these soldiers don't know is that today the insurgents plan to hit them hard with more IEDs than they've ever encountered before. So far, 2009 is proving to be the IED's deadliest year in Afghanistan. 149 ISAF soldiers killed in action. Another 435 local nationals. A total of 584 people are killed by these buried bombs.
That's about 50% of the total number of kills in theatre.
As the number of troops in Afghanistan increases, so are the number of IEDs being planted by insurgents. Combine the two, and the outcome is no surprise.
Last year there were sort of 3,500 incidents. We're looking at sort of there being probably about 7,000 plus incidents this year.
The good news, there is a decrease in the number of people killed per incident, down 30% from July of 2008. Much of the credit for this going to the vehicles the troops travel in, the Husky, the Buffalo, the MRAP and the Cougar. Back on the battlefront, this equipment has just been tested less than an hour into the RCP's mission.
The shotgun, go ahead, back up to Buffalo and pound to establish comms.
I hit the pressure plate, dust flew up everywhere. The machine took the blast almost perfectly. I was completely fine.
They continue to move up the road, 1 inch at a time. It's a slow process that requires as much patience as it does bravery. This first IED is just one of many more that awaits them, and the team seems to know it. Village after village, no one is around. Something is very suspicious. Even with their onboard radar system, the insurgents are finding ways to defeat the technology being used to find IEDs.
They're adapting to what we're doing, but at the same time we're taking measures and adapting to what they're doing, so it's a constant cat and mouse game.
But what you can't fool is an observant, well-trained eye and the ability to sense that something just isn't right.
I always kind of think of it as a chess game, multiple players versus me or versus our crew here.
And like a surgeon removing a cancerous tumor,
I want to just get underneath it just enough to be able to pick it up without tearing up the ground too much.
These explosive specialists use a steady hand to extract IEDs from a safe distance behind a wall of armor.
We can take the blasts. That's one thing that I think a lot of people don't realize as well. It's not like an old Humvee where you get torn to pieces. This vehicle's meant to take them.
And it's a good thing, because as the RCP moves up the road, they're hit by another and another IED. The sun is now setting when they come across yet another suspicious find, but the decision is made to wait until morning to take it out. It's now been 31 hours since the team set out on this mission, and they've only moved 23 kilometers up the road. They still have another 50 to go. In Regional Command North, ISAF troops are training the Afghan National Army in counter-IED operations.
There is a school for IED operators for the ANA up at Mazar-e-Sharif, and we are training their operators in tactics that will enable them to continue this fight after we've gone. It's a mindset we've got to try and get out of them that anybody can simply cut a wire and declare the device safe. It's simply not the case.
And for the Afghan citizens, British soldiers are going from village to village, teaching people how to recognise explosives.
The greater awareness the locals have, there are many of these on the ground, the more information we get, which means we can clear more items off the ground and basically saving more lives.
This has been very good training for us because we get to see the bombs. Now if I see something like this, I know it's dangerous for us. If I see a bomb, I will mark it and step away. I will mark it with something colorful so it can be seen.
Back on the road, the calm of the early morning sunrise is shattered by another IED, the fifth since leaving Sharana. For the convoy commander, with each blast, his world stops.
We've had a couple of radios get knocked out from a blast, and that was torture sitting there for not only me but every one of my soldiers. You know, they're wondering what's going on, and comms are our main way that we know that a soldier's all right.
But like each of the previous direct hits, no one is hurt, and none of the RCP's vehicles suffer any serious damage. In addition to the 5 IED strikes, the team finds and safely dismantles 2 others. Then, slowly, once again, moves up the road. Unlike the armoured RCPs, foot patrols are most vulnerable to IEDs, which are cheap and easy to make. And here, in Afghanistan, there's an abundant supply of materials.
A lot of the raw materials are lying around the theatre. You have the explosive remnants of war, mines, rockets, and mortar bombs, all the stuff that conflict zones will have littered around them.
And with Afghanistan's vast agricultural industry,
they're also very adept at making homemade explosives out of agricultural chemicals, fertilizers and such like.
Which explains the number of crude devices the RCP encountered. The team knows the insurgents have been watching each blast, but since they didn't see any wounded, no significant damage, they've given up. The RCP's path to Gardez is now clear, arriving tired but feeling victorious.
We talked to some people coming from Oregon, heading up to Gardez. They patiently waited in line so we could clear the road for them. There was several families, men, women, and children. Like you said, it would be safer because those guys went out there today and found those IEDs.
A drive that would take an hour anywhere else in the world took these IED hunters 3 days.
We've all shared that danger factor almost equally now. There hasn't really been anyone who hasn't had their share of a hairy day.
Obviously a lot of negative side effects from taking contact, so on and so forth. The guys are always there for each other. We're always there to help pick the guys up, pull them back together, help them push on.
Rattled nerves, but tonight they'll sleep on cots under the stars. A well-deserved night's rest. But tomorrow, these soldiers and the thousands of others from 42 different nations will be back in action. The hunt for IEDs will continue for those who go where other men fear.